Last spring I told my colleagues a strange tale of black women visiting my house who politely walked past the brown-skinned man in dirty overalls trimming the hedge outside. They had mistaken me for a professional landscaper from south of the border. After a couple of fruitless rings of the doorbell, they turned to ask me if the homeowners were around. I found myself blurting out, "I'm right here, honey." The anecdote appeared to cause physical discomfort among my co-workers, except, curiously enough, some blue-collar white males who laughed that it had happened to them too. It also earned me the nickname Ash the Gardener. Little do they know that I'm even more versatile than they think when it comes to playing a stereotyped horticultural hitman. All it takes is a costume change to cast me in a different immigrant role. I once had to take time off work to meet a utility worker at my house for a gas meter replacement. The energy expert was a monosyllabic, middle-aged white gentleman. His day did not seem to be going well. I greeted him in the driver's seat of his pickup, accepted his grunt, left him to inspect the meter, and went indoors. As I entered, I left my shoes at the door as a good South Asian homeowner will. I was dressed in fancy polyester slacks and a spotless white cricket shirt, both fresh from my shopping spree in India the week before. I was even still wearing my work badge, my bad. No more than 2 minutes had passed when the doorbell rang. Mr. Meter stared at my socked feet and said, "Oh, you've got your shoes off. Well?" I asked what he needed. He said, "I can't reach it. You'll have to get someone to cut the bushes back for you." He shook his head and stepped away as though he was about to get back in the truck and leave. I said, "Hold on." I put on some boots and safety glasses in the garage, grabbed a saw and shears, and rushed out to the meter. A bit stressed from having to interrupt my workday and drive 20 miles for this, I was in no mood to take no for an answer. So I probably sawed and sheared at my poor bush with unnecessary ferocity. Given my marginal skills as a handyman, the results were bloody. 3 minutes later, I backed away from the pile of branches and debris littering the spot and snapped, "Can you reach it now?" That's when I realized that my visitor was staring as though he had seen a ghost, or perhaps the magical appearance of my Mexican alter ego. He then smiled for the first time. He said, "Let me borrow those shears." He gently clipped away a few twigs and said, "That should do it." He then became positively chatty. In diversity trading, we speak of ladders of inference. We climb upon one step of shaky assumption after another, finally finding ourselves perched atop a precarious conclusion that we cannot distinguish from fact. We have all seen others climbing ladders of inference about us. I have little doubt that those delightful Jehovah's Witnesses got me wrong when they rang my doorbell. But looking back on it, I had just raced up the rungs past them like Spider-Man. Did the gas meter guy really think, "Oh, an Indian, he must be an IT dude. He can only handle a keyboard and a mouse, not a weed whacker. He must be paying Latinos to do his yard work for him"? I don't know. I didn't ask him. Diving off my inference point into those depths was just too scary for me. By the time he had finished the replacement and cleaned up, he had told me his life story and was joking about whether he would still be alive for my next scheduled meter replacement in 20 years. He was also chastising his boss for not giving homeowners warning about trimming their bushes in advance. I had to admit he had a point there, but then I would never have had a chance to prune away at the stereotype of Ash the Ungardener.